When did racism against white people become okay? Joe Biden put white people last in line for COVID relief funds. Kamala Harris said disaster aid should go to non-white citizens first. Liberal politicians block access to medicine based on skin color. Progressive corporations, airlines, universities all openly discriminate against white Americans. Racism is always wrong. The left's anti-white bigotry must stop. We are all entitled to equal treatment under law. America First Legal paid for this ad.
Okay, racism is always wrong. Are they not merciful? Thank you, Stephen Miller, by the way. It's his group that put this together. They've spent every day of their life denying that racism exists, except when it's left-wing anti-white racism, and then they'll acknowledge it. Let's pause for a second. That is among the most explicitly racist advertisements I've ever seen in my life. Like, if you wanted to start a race war, what sort of advertising would you do along the way to get us towards that? In a country where there has been no end to the mass political violence explicitly on racial grounds over the past few years, Stephen Miller very well aware of that. He's been inspiring this sort of bigotry on the right wing for a number of years. That ad, by the way, is running in Augusta, Savannah, Albany, Columbus, a number of different places. Like you see it down in Tallahassee. And JR, we're gonna link this to a very similar ad that came out a number of years ago. But what did you make of that?
I know small things. Run the ad just next to me again, you guys, because I'm not sure if these were like random folks that they just found like some stock footage of on the internet, or if they actually asked for actors that look up and look like they're oppressed white folks. Look at this. So if you're directing these folks, you go, okay, so look up and look oppressed, and that's the look on their face. You're supposed to go like we're not really sure what it's supposed to look like. Like, what is this? That's oppression? Oh. Like this is what's supposed to be getting transferred into people's brains into thinking, look at these oppressed white people, they can't live anymore. Yeah, we see reality of news reports of what happens to folks. We see the reasons why there was even those protests in 2020. Was that about the oppression of white folks? No, they were mad at the white folks that actually joined in and realized the degree of police brutality and murder that happens across the country indiscriminately, and they always get away with it. Things like that is what inspired folks to realize something, and they got really mad. The more and more reality and truth seeps into the general society's conscious, then that's when they're like, okay, we have to do something about this because they're starting to catch on. Let's go with some lies. What is this based off? What are the stories behind this? Who are the names that we have to call out for all this anti-white racism?
You can see, look, this is why billionaires on the right have put together something that looks at the surface level like an entire sort of media thing. So they can make ads like that, but they need headlines implying that this stuff is going on. So what do? They have headlines from the Daily Wire. It's the same exact people. It's just another pack of bigots. That's all it is, except it's technically a headline. They technically said the Kamala Harris is like disaster aid's only gonna go to a non-white people. Did she actually say that? Did they actually do that? No, it didn't actually happen. They talked there about antivirals and stuff not going to white people. So first of all, bear in mind, Daily Wire and Stephen Miller believe, or they would have you believe, that those antivirals will kill you. You shouldn't take any of that. You shouldn't trust doctors or take any medication whatsoever. But the medicine that will definitely kill you, isn't it mean that they won't give it to you if you're white? They won't give you the poison. What a racist thing to do. And so they have these bigoted, biased news sites that make these headlines, and then they can use those for the rest of time. And every Republican will accept it. Look, that's how they get to this. The point of this is they are trying to train conservative voters not to respond to sort of subtle like appeals to racism, to believe that white people are victims in literally everything. They're done with that. That's 1970s, 1980s Southern strategy stuff. No, this is explicit now. All of the Democrats are trying to kill white people and drive them out of business. So you should think about your politics only through the lens of your white skin. That there's no subtlety. It is 100% explicit. And look, there have been attempts to do this in the past. But even then, some of the, like if you were to Google most racist political ads ever, they were more subtle than this. Take a look at this ad from back in the day.
You needed that job, and you were the best qualified, but they had to give it to a minority because of a racial quota. Is that really fair? Harvey Gantt says it is. Gantt supports Ted Kennedy's racial quota law that makes the color of your skin more important than your qualifications. You'll vote on this issue next Tuesday. For racial quotas, Harvey Gantt. Against racial quotas, Jesse Helms.
So that is the Jesse Helms hands ad that has been an utter racist embarrassment for literally decades. And it was way more subtle than what Stephen Miller put together. There, they just implied that a white person's job is being taken because you see some white hands or whatever. And look at that black politician. He's gonna throw you out in the street. You're not gonna be able to feed your family because of these racial quotas and everything. That was not nearly as explicit as what Stephen Miller put together in this ad. And flyers are going out. Exactly. It is, we are in a way more bigoted racist time than we were before. Trump really has inspired them to be out in all of their hatreds and fears.
Before the call for violence back in the day with all the normalcy is like, hey, those minorities, they're dangerous, they're killers. We have to kill them. They're lesser human beings. Now it's the same thought process, but it's like, but now they're more aggressive and coming for us and taking this and that, which actually that was kind of the message then too. But now it's we're the oppressed. We have to fight back because we're the oppressed. So if black folks and other minorities were oppressed before, shouldn't they have had a violent uprising too? Just wondering, since you think you're supposed to have one based off of this nonsense.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.